They didn't ask permission. One stood in front of me, the other pressed against my back. My husband's cousin and his best friend. My robe was already falling open when the dryer stopped and the front door unlocked. I was 38, married 12 years, and for the first time in forever, I let them both have me. I didn't stop them. I didn't want to. This is my confession. Welcome back to Late Night Confession Stories, the place where real people share the secrets they've never told anyone. Tonight's story is raw, forbidden, and heartbreakingly honest. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications because these confessions only get darker and more addictive. Now, let's begin. I convinced myself I'd forgotten what real desire felt like. But the truth is, I hadn't forgotten. I'd just buried it, deep down under layers of routine and quiet resignation. Every time I folded his crisp shirts, inhaling the faint scent of his cologne that no longer stirred anything in me. Every quiet dinner where the clink of forks against plates echoed louder than any words we exchanged, where no one bothered to ask how my day was or if my heart was still beating. Every load of laundry I started just to avoid climbing those creaky stairs to our cold bedroom, where the sheets felt like ice against my skin and the silence pressed in like a heavy blanket. I'm 38 now, married 12 long, fading years to a man who still kisses my cheek goodnight out of habit, but hasn't really looked at me, truly seen me, in longer than I can bear to count. His eyes glaze over me like I'm part of the furniture, familiar but forgotten. I'm the wife who remembers every anniversary with a forced smile, knows exactly how he takes his coffee, black, no sugar, just like his affection these days, and presses his shirts without being asked, my fingers lingering on the fabric as if searching for the warmth that used to be there. For years, that was enough. Or at least, I convinced myself it was, pushing down the ache in my chest, the hollow emptiness that whispered I was slowly disappearing. Caleb is my husband's cousin, a few years younger than me, with that boyish charm that life hadn't fully worn away yet. Divorced too early, carrying the scars of a marriage that crumbled under unspoken regrets. He's always been polite, always helpful fixing leaky faucets with those strong, calloused hands, trimming hedges in the backyard while sweat glistened on his forehead, staying over when storms rolled in and the wind howled like my unspoken loneliness. He's the kind of man who says thank you like he means it, who notices when you're tired without making a fuss, his easy kindness wrapping around me like a soft blanket on a cold night. But lately, there was something more in his glances, a quiet hunger that made my stomach twist with a mix of fear and forbidden thrill. Jonah is Caleb's oldest friend from college, rougher around the edges, with a brooding intensity that draws you in to spite yourself. Quieter than most, his words sparse but weighted, like stones dropped into still water. But his eyes, oh, those piercing eyes, they cut straight through you, stripping away the pretense, asking questions you've spent years avoiding, making your pulse quicken with a vulnerability that both terrified and exhilarated me. He'd linger in doorways, his presence filling the room with an unspoken tension that left me breathless. At first, their visits felt random, innocent coincidences. A forgotten jacket handed over with a lingering touch. A tool my husband needed, delivered with a smile that stayed in my mind long after they left. Then it became routine, weekly drop-ins that stretched into hours, filling the empty spaces in my days with laughter I hadn't heard in my own home for ages. Then it became something else entirely, a simmering undercurrent of longing that I tried to ignore, but it clawed at me, awakening feelings I thought were dead and buried. My heart would race when I heard a car pull up, a mix of anticipation and dread flooding through me. They never treated me like I was fading. Not like the man I married had started to, his touches mechanical, his attention elsewhere, leaving me starving for connection in a house that felt more like a cage. With Caleb and Jonah, I felt seen, truly, deeply seen, for the first time in years, their gazes igniting sparks in my veins that I'd forgotten could burn so bright. That night the storm hit hard, unleashing its fury like the emotions I'd kept locked away. Power lines down, plunging the world into darkness. My husband stuck at the airport again, another delayed flight, another night alone, his text a cold reminder of the distance between us. I was in the laundry room, folding towels under the hum of the dryer, the warm air carrying the scent of fresh soap that mixed with my growing isolation. My hands trembled slightly as I smoothed the fabric, each fold a futile attempt to tidy the mess inside me. When the knocking started loud, insistent, cutting through the roar of the wind, my heart leaped into my throat. I opened the door, rain lashing in like accusations. Both of them stood there, soaked through, water dripping from their disheveled hair, clothes clinging to their bodies in a way that made my breath catch. Caleb held a flashlight, its beam cutting through the gloom like a lifeline. Jonah carried bottled water and a small duffel, like they'd planned to stay, like they knew I needed them more than I'd admit. They didn't ask if they could come in. I stepped aside anyway, my pulse thundering in my ears, a whirlwind of fear, excitement, and desperate needs swirling in my chest. The house was dark except for that one flickering bulb over the washer, casting shadows that danced like my unspoken desires. The dryer ran warm against my back as I leaned there, robe cinched tight around my trembling body, the soft fabric a thin barrier against the storm outside, and the one building within me. We didn't talk much at first. Just the sound of rain hammering the roof, relentless and rhythmic, mirroring the pounding of my heart. The soft click of the dryer cycle ending, leaving a sudden silence that amplified every breath, every shift of weight. Then Caleb moved behind me, his presence a solid warmth that sent shivers down my spine. His breath brushed my shoulder, hot and steady, carrying the faint scent of rain, and his cologne earthy, intoxicating. Jonah stepped forward until we were almost chest to chest, his eyes locked on mine, dark and intense, challenging me to move away, to stop this before it consumed us all. I didn't. I couldn't. The pull was too strong, the loneliness too deep. For hands found my hips at the same moment. Slow, careful, deliberate. Like they'd imagined this longer than I ever allowed myself to, their touches igniting a fire that spread through me, melting the ice I'd built around my heart. A gasp escaped my lips, unbidden, as waves of longing crashed over me, years of suppressed emotion rising to the surface. I stayed silent, letting my back rest heavier against the warm metal of the dryer, its vibration a steady anchor in the chaos of my feelings. Let the air between us thicken, charged with electricity that crackled like the lightning outside. Let them take control, gently, patiently, the way men do when they've waited years instead of minutes, their fingers tracing paths that made me feel alive, desired, whole. Jonah's fingers traced the edge of my robe first, featherlight, sending jolts of electricity through my skin. Caleb's hand slid to the knot at my waist, his touch firm yet tender, unraveling me thread by thread. Neither rushed. Neither spoke. But their eyes, they said everything: hunger, understanding, a shared ache that mirrored my own. I could smell fresh laundry soap, mixed with the sharp tang of rain, mixed with them, masculine, raw, pulling me under. My pulse hammered in my throat, a frantic rhythm of fear and exhilaration. I told myself this didn't mean anything. Not really. Just loneliness. Just a moment of weakness. But deep down, I knew it was more, a desperate cry for the passion I'd lost, the woman I used to be. But when Jonah leaned in and pressed his lips to the side of my neck, warm, deliberate, his stubble grazing my skin like a promise, when Caleb tugged the belt loose and the robe parted like it was meant to, cool air kissing my exposed skin, vulnerability flooding me with a rush of heat, I didn't feel guilty. I felt awake, alive, electric. Tears pricked my eyes as emotions long dormant surged forward, joy, terror, raw need intertwining in a beautiful, terrifying storm. For the first time in years, I felt like someone remembered I had skin worth touching, that I had breath worth stealing, that I was still here, still worthy of desire. And then the sound of a key in the front door, sharp and intrusive, slicing through the haze like a blade. Everything froze. My heart stopped. The world shattered. Everything froze. My heart slammed against my ribs so hard I thought it might crack them open. The key turned fully. The front door creaked, just that small, familiar sound, and the cold draft rushed in ahead of him, carrying the smell of wet pavement and airport coffee. Jonah stepped back first. One fluid motion, like he'd practiced disappearing. His hands dropped from my hips, but I could still feel the ghost of his fingers burning through the thin fabric of my robe. Caleb moved slower, more reluctant, his palm sliding away from my waist, as if it physically hurt to let go. He turned toward the electrical box in the corner, flipping it open like he'd been checking fuses the whole time. Neither of them looked at me, but I could feel their awareness of me like heat radiating off skin. I yanked the robe closed with shaking hands, fingers fumbling the knot so badly it took 3 tries. My skin was flushed, hypersensitive. Every brush of cotton against me felt like a reminder of what had almost happened. What had happened until that key turned. I pressed my back harder against the dryer, its warmth now mocking me, and forced my breathing to slow. In through the nose, out through the mouth. Pretend. Just pretend. My husband stepped into the hallway, dripping, tired. His suitcase thudded against the wall as he set it down. He looked older in the dim emergency light, lines around his eyes deeper, shoulders heavier. For a second, I felt a pang of something like guilt, or pity, or both. He kissed my cheek. Cool lips. Routine. "Why's the power out?" he asked, voice flat, already moving past me toward the kitchen. "I don't know," I managed. My voice sounded too high, too thin. "Storm, probably." He nodded without really hearing me. Didn't think Caleb and Jonah would still be here. He glanced toward the laundry room doorway where Caleb was now loudly explaining something about tripped breakers. Jonah had slipped down the hallway toward the guest bathroom, silent as smoke. "They came by when the rain started," I said. "Offered to help if the power went." The lie tasted metallic on my tongue. My husband grunted. "Nice of them." He rubbed the back of his neck. "I'm beat. Shower in bed." I nodded. Smiled too wide. Too bright. "Sure." He disappeared upstairs. Footsteps fading. Water running. Only then did I let out the breath I'd been holding. My knees buckled slightly. I gripped the edge of the washer to stay upright. The room smelled like us, rain, soap, skin, arousal that hadn't been satisfied. It clung to the air. To me. Caleb appeared in the doorway again. He didn't step inside. Just looked at me. Eyes dark, searching. "You okay?" he whispered. I couldn't answer. Couldn't speak past the knot in my throat. I just nodded once, sharp, jerky. He exhaled slowly. "We'll go." A pause. But this, he gestured vaguely between us, between the 3 invisible points we now formed. "Isn't over." Then he was gone too. Side door. Soft click. I stood alone in the dark laundry room for what felt like hours. The storm still raged outside, but inside me it was louder. My body hummed, alive, aching, traitorously awake. I pressed my thighs together and bit my lip hard enough to taste copper. I wanted to cry. I wanted to laugh. I wanted to chase them out into the rain and beg them to finish what they started. Instead, I went upstairs. Showered until the hot water ran cold. Let the spray pound against my shoulders like punishment. But their touches stayed. Branded. Under the skin. The next morning felt cruelly normal. Sunlight sliced through the blinds like nothing had happened. Birds sang. Coffee maker gurgled. My husband ate scrambled eggs and toast, scrolled his phone, kissed my forehead on his way out. "Love you," he said automatically. "Love you too." The words felt hollow. Foreign. After he left, I stood at the kitchen sink staring at the drain. My hands moved on autopilot, rinsing a mug I hadn't used. Scrubbing too hard. Trying to erase the memory of other hands on me. Gentler. Hungrier. More present. I could still feel Jonah's lips on my neck. The slow drag of Caleb's fingers along my waist. The way they'd held me, not possessively, but reverently. Like I was something precious they'd waited years to touch. And I had let them. Wanted them. Craved the way they made me feel visible again. Wanted. Whole. That afternoon the doorbell rang. My stomach flipped so violently I almost dropped the laundry basket I was carrying. It was Jonah. Alone. Holding a small paper bag. "Forgot this last night," he said. His voice slow. Careful. Inside, a pack of the gum I like, the kind my husband never remembers I chew. Our fingers brushed when I took it. Neither of us pulled away immediately. His thumb grazed my knuckle, just once. Deliberate. "You disappeared fast," I whispered. "Had to." His eyes flicked to the stairs, then back to me. "But I couldn't stay away today." Silence stretched. Thick. Electric. "I keep thinking about it," he said finally. "About you. About how you looked when the robe opened. How you trembled, but didn't pull away." My breath hitched. Heat flooded my face, my chest lower. "Me too," I admitted. The confession slipped out before I could stop it. He stepped closer, just one half step. Close enough that I could smell rain still clinging to his jacket. Close enough that I felt the warmth of him again. "We didn't finish," he murmured. A statement, not a question. I shook my head slowly. "No." His gaze dropped to my lips. Then back up. "Do you want to?" My heart answered before my mind could lie. "Yes." If this confession is hitting you as hard as it hit me, hit that like button right now, it really helps the channel. Subscribe and turn on the bell so you never miss a story this raw. Drop a comment. What would you have done in her place? Would you have stopped or said yes to? Let's talk about it below. Now, back to the confession. The word hung between us like smoke. Yes. It wasn't loud. It was barely a breath. But once it left my lips, the air shifted thicker, hotter, inevitable. Jonah didn't smile. Didn't speak. He just looked at me for one long second, eyes darkening with something raw and unguarded. Then he reached past me, pushed the front door shut with a soft click, and turned the lock. The sound echoed in my chest like a heartbeat. He stepped closer, slow, deliberate, until the space between us vanished. His hand came up, cupped the side of my face, thumb brushing my cheekbone. Gentle, almost tender. But his breathing was ragged, betraying the storm inside him too. "I've wanted this since the first time I saw you alone in this kitchen," he whispered. "Watching you stir something on the stove, looking so damn tired and beautiful. I hated how invisible you seemed." My throat tightened. Tears stung the corners of my eyes, not from sadness, but from the ache of being seen. Finally. Completely. He kissed me then. Not rushed. Not desperate. Slow. Deep. Like he was memorizing every second. His lips were warm, tasting faintly of mint and rain. I melted into it, hands fisting in his shirt, pulling him closer. A small moan escaped me when his tongue brushed mine. Years of pent-up need unraveled in that kiss. We didn't make it far. The laundry room called us back like gravity. Same flickering light. Same warm dryer humming softly in the background. He backed me against it, hands sliding under my shirt, palms flat against my bare back. Skin on skin. Electric. I arched into him, gasping at the contact. The front door opened again. We froze, lips still touching, breaths mingling. Caleb's voice from the hallway, low and careful. I forgot my phone. Silence. Then footsteps. Closer. Jonah pulled back just enough to look toward the doorway. I couldn't move. Couldn't breathe. My shirt was rucked up, his hands still under it. Caleb appeared. He stopped dead. Eyes flicking from Jonah to me, flushed, disheveled, caught. For a heartbeat, jealousy flashed across his face, sharp, real. Then it softened into something else. Understanding. Acceptance. Hunger. He didn't leave. Didn't speak. Just stepped inside and closed the door behind him. The click of the latch felt final. Jonah looked at him, then at me. A silent question. My heart pounded so loud I was sure they could hear it. I looked between them, two men who'd quietly filled the voids my marriage had carved out. Two men who saw me when no one else did. I reached out, one hand to Jonah's chest, the other toward Calb. Calb crossed the room in 3 strides. He took my hand, brought it to his lips, kissed my knuckles. Soft. Reverent. Then he was behind me again, just like that first night. Chest to my back. Arms wrapping around my waist. Holding me steady while Jonah stepped forward once more. They moved in sync now. No competition. No rush. Just shared purpose. Caleb's lips found the curve of my neck, kissing, nipping gently, his stubble scraping deliciously. Jonah's hands slid up my sides, pushing my shirt higher until it came off completely. Cool air hit my skin, then their warmth chased it away. For hands. 2 mouths. One body trembling between them. Caleb's fingers traced my ribs, slow circles that made me shiver. Jonah kissed down my collarbone, then lower, lips closing over sensitive skin, tongue flicking, drawing a whimper from deep in my throat. I reached back, threading fingers into Caleb's hair. Pulled Jonah closer by his belt loops. They groaned in unison, low, guttural sounds that vibrated through me. The robe was long gone. Clothes followed in quiet, deliberate pieces. No frantic tearing. Just careful unwrapping, like a gift they'd both been waiting to open. We ended up on the folded towels I'd left on the floor, soft makeshift bed in the dim light. They surrounded me, protected me, worshipped me. Caleb behind, hands roaming my breasts, thumbs teasing peaks until I arched and gasped. Jonah between my thighs, kissing inner skin, working higher with maddening patience. When his mouth finally found me, warm, wet, insistent, I cried out, hips bucking. Caleb swallowed the sound with a kiss, deep, claiming. Their touches overlapped, blended fingers and lips and breath everywhere. I lost track of whose hand was where, whose mouth. It didn't matter. They were both there, both wanting me, both making me feel like the center of the universe. The build was slow at first, waves building, cresting higher. Then faster, harder. I shattered between them, body clenching, vision widening out, a sob tearing from my chest as pleasure ripped through me like lightning. They didn't stop, held me through it, kissed me soft, whispered my name like a prayer. Then they took turns, gentle, careful, drawing it out until I was begging in broken whispers. First Jonah, deep, steady thrusts that made stars burst behind my eyes. Then Caleb, slower, more rolling, grinding in ways that built me up all over again. They switched seamlessly, no jealousy, just shared rhythm. When we finally collapsed, sweaty, tangled, breathless, the storm outside had quieted. But inside me, it still raged. A beautiful, terrifying storm of feeling alive. We lay there in silence for a long time. Caleb's head on my shoulder. Jonah's fingers tracing lazy patterns on my hip. No one spoke of guilt. Not yet, but I knew it was coming. We lay there on the pile of folded towels until the dryer clicked off for the last time that night. The room grew cooler. The storm outside had finally spent itself, rain reduced to a soft patter, wind whispering instead of howling. But inside me the storm still churned. A beautiful chaos of feeling wanted, feeling chosen, feeling real, tangled with the slow, creeping realization that this couldn't stay contained in one dark laundry room forever. Caleb shifted first. He pressed a slow, lingering kiss to my shoulder, gentle, almost apologetic, then sat up. His back to me, he ran both hands through his hair, exhaling a long, shaky breath. Jonah stayed beside me a moment longer, fingers still tracing idle circles on my hip. His touch was soothing now, grounding, like he was trying to memorize the shape of me before the world intruded again. No one said, "I love you." No one said this was a mistake. We didn't need to. The silence carried everything: gratitude, guilt, longing, fear. Eventually we dressed. Quietly. Carefully. Helping each other with buttons and zippers like it was the most natural thing. Jonah found my robe where it had fallen. He draped it over my shoulders instead of handing it to me, letting his hands linger on my arms as he did. Caleb picked up the scattered towels, folding them neatly, methodically, as if restoring order to the room could restore order to us. They left separately. Jonah first, quick kiss to my forehead, eyes holding mine for one last beat before he slipped out the side door. Caleb second, standing in the doorway longer, looking back at me like he wanted to say 1,000 things, but settled on just one quiet word: tomorrow. I didn't answer. I couldn't. I just nodded once, small and uncertain. The house felt emptier after they were gone. Echoing. I stood in the laundry room until my legs ached, staring at the spot on the floor where we'd been tangled together. Then I cleaned, wiped down the dryer, refolded everything, sprayed lavender cleaner until the air smelled only of artificial calm. But their scent lingered on my skin no matter how hard I scrubbed in the shower afterward. Morning came too soon. Sunlight sliced through the kitchen blinds like judgment. My husband was already up, showered, dressed, coffee in hand. He looked at me over the rim of his mug. "You okay? You look tired." I forced a smile. The same one I'd worn for years. Just didn't sleep well. Storm kept me up. He nodded, accepted it, kissed my temple on his way out. "Love you. See you tonight." The door closed, and I was alone again. But not the same alone. This time the silence screamed. Over the next few days, everything looked normal on the surface. Laundry, groceries, dinner plates clinking, bed at 10 o'clock. My husband touched my back in bed sometimes, casual, habitual. I flinched every time, not from disgust, from the contrast. His hand felt like duty. Theirs had felt like worship. Jonah texted once. 3 words, "Thinking about you." I stared at the screen until it went dark. Didn't reply, but I didn't delete it either. Caleb showed up 2 days later with a small toolbox. "Loose hinge in the garage," he said. My husband wasn't home. We barely spoke while he worked. Just the sound of screwdriver on metal. When he finished, he wiped his hands on a rag and looked at me. "I haven't forgotten," he said quietly. "Neither have I." He left without touching me, but his presence stayed like a handprint on my skin. A week later, I found Jonah's jacket in the laundry basket, still damp from that night. I lifted it to my face before I could stop myself. Inhaled. Rain. Him. Us. Then dropped it like it burned. Folded it anyway. Set it by the door for pickup. The guilt came in waves. Some days it drowned me. I'd cry in the shower, whispering, "I'm sorry," to a husband who would never hear it. Other days it felt distant, almost abstract. Like the guilt belonged to someone else. The woman I used to be. What scared me most wasn't the betrayal itself. It was how alive I felt afterward. How the numbness I'd carried for years had cracked open, letting light and pain flood in. I grieved the marriage I thought I had. Grieved the version of me who accepted invisibility as normal. Grieved the quiet life that had once felt safe. And yet, every time the doorbell rang, my stomach twisted with something dangerously close to hope. Would it be one of them? Both? Or no one at all? I don't know what happens next. I don't know if I'll stop them if they come back. I don't know if I want to stop them. I only know this. When you spend too long feeling like a ghost in your own life, sometimes the wrong hands are the only ones that remind you you're still flesh and blood. For one night, for a few stolen hours, I wasn't invisible. I was seen, wanted, alive. And I can't unfeel that. No matter how much it hurts. No matter how wrong it is. If you've ever craved something you knew would destroy you, but leaned in anyway, then maybe you understand. This is my confession. And I'm still carrying it. And that's tonight's confession. Heavy. Honest. Thank you for listening all the way through. If this story touched something in you, or made you think twice about your own life, drop a like, leave a comment sharing your thoughts, and subscribe for more real, raw confessions every week. We carry these secrets together. Until next time, sleep well. Or don't.